the quick update there and some calls. Let's move on and take this conversation forward with Jay Bala of cashthechaos.com. Now, Jay, of course, as a lot of you would know, has been retaining a pretty bearish stance on the market. At least, I don't know, Jay, if that changed. I wasn't around last week. But you tell me, it's about a 700-point expansion on the Nifty. Are you still retaining your original thesis that we're heading lower and this is just maybe a bear market bounce?
I'm in the show, Surbi. I'm just a messenger. I'm just interpreting the market. So, I just follow markets. I'm a slave to the price action. So if the price action were to say something different, I'll definitely change my view. See, the market is doing within the bounds of a counter trend bounce, and whatever is happening is still resembling all characters of a counter trend bounce. But the counter trend bounce is still up, and we should continue this to be up as long as the market stays above 17,502. But it's starting to look a bit stretched, and we are at the upper bounds of this counter trend bounce. So we could be starting a reversal anytime, probably as early as tomorrow. But we need to see the break of support at 17,502. Until that point, assume that counter trend bounce is still in play.
All right, Jay, I missed that. And it can extend on the upside to what level?
Yeah, the resistance for the Nifty is at about 17,800. Maybe, there is a probability it could stretch to 18,000. But, we are nearing the upper range of the maximum point of counter trend bounce, and we are likely to reverse pretty soon.
All right. What about the Nifty Bank? That appears to be breaking out. I think 41,700 is the level that some technical analysts are looking at. What are the levels you are looking at? Because it's crossed that 40,000, the 41,000 hump. Last few days, it was stalling at around 41,250. Today, it seems to have got past that. Is it good for more?
The Banking index, for me, the resistance comes at about 41,500 and 41,990. Within the pack, it's actually a mixed bag. Kotak is bouncing as it's just waded off a very significant breakdown. But it's not reversing the trend, and it's the leader within the banking pack today. SBI has come to a very critical resistance. The probability that it could turn down from here is going to be watched. So if we have a negative day from here, there's a good probability that SBI could put pressure on the banking index. So I don't see this rally lasting beyond 41,990.
41,990 is the cap on the Nifty Bank. Jay, afternoon. What about ITC? Now, ITC continues to rally. It's a fresh 52-week high on it today as well, approaching that 400 mark, 20% this year, 48% in the last 1 year, and all the dips seem to, get bought into. Are you convinced about an up move from here on, or would you use this up move to sell into the stock?
Yeah, if you go back to most of my interactions, Rima, I've been saying that ITC hasn't topped, and I even pointed out that there is, despite the budget day volatility, slightly skewing my charts, I said there is probability that it's got one more higher high to come through. It's doing just that. As long as ITC stays above 369, I think the index will stay above 43,500. So that will keep the index up. But there is just a small bit of caution out there. ITC could be running into an exhaustion top, but don't fight the trend. As long as the stock stays above 369, you just want to be just trailing the move for ITC. It's probably got a little more highs to come through, just around 405, 410 mark. But we just want to act on the markets reversing. Until it reverses, we just want to stay with the trend.
Okay, that's ITC. Jay, let me ask you about IT. I mean, the market and the price is really showing the kind of nervousness that exists on the street with respect to earnings. What else are the charts telling you? It's anyway been one of the most unloved sectors in recent times. Is there any sort of a trade here on the way up or the way down?
See, all through last year, second half of last year, to be more precise, I had been saying that it's more likely that the Nifty IT index is seeing a counter trend bounce. What I was bullish on second tier IT names like Persistent and the Coforge and other stocks. But IT index is probably coming very close to breaking the 2022 low. It shouldn't have traded below 28, sorry, 27,900. And it did briefly, but it's just bounced recently. The reason for this is INFI is showing very high probability that it might break 1355, the 2022 low, and Wipro that's also likely to break 350. So the frontline names are weaker compared to the second year names, and Infosys has a very large weighting on the IT index, so that could be setting the sentiment for the whole sector. So once the IT index starts to cave below the 2022 low, I'm sure it's going to start putting pressure on the second tier names too. But the only stock I think that may not break the 2022 low amongst the frontline name could be HCL Tech, but that could also correct somewhere close to 980.
All right, Jay, I wanted to your view on two other stocks, Bajaj Finance and BPCL. You have a view on both those two. Run us through your view and the levels you're tracking.
See, Bajaj Finance has been one of the leaders on the downside, and it's recently had a bump up from the March lows. And this bump up is looking like a corrective rise. I think it's due for another leg down and complete the short-term structure. It needs to go below 350. I think the price objective is about 5,300, and as long as it stays above 59, stays below 59.70. This negative stance is intact, and BPCL surprisingly, with all the news action that's happening for Brent and other varieties of crude, it's time to stay positive. There is a short-term positive setup there. As long as BPCL holds above 326, it has potential to scale somewhere close to 360 to 370.
Do stay on. We need to slip into a very short break. By the way, Bank of Baroda slipped to the low point of the day. It started off much stronger,